Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HPC TV 25. Thank you for joining us here today. Tom Sawyer, head coach at Winona State, joins us, and I guess I'll just let you kind of start things off. Disappointing weekend in your mind. What happened at the game?
Yeah, probably that term's best. We're disappointed. You only get so many opportunities, especially to play high-level games like that. We knew that on one poll they were ahead of us, one poll we were ahead of them, so it's kind of a toss-up. And we started out with great. We started out on the defensive side of the ball, and we had a pick in the first series, and turned around, and the offense clicked and went right down in. Then we threw a pick in the end zone, and the kid ended up bringing it out almost to midfield. So it was like we had this great start until all of a sudden, we're kind of behind the eight ball, and then we just were out of sync. I think is the term, especially offensively. We just didn't connect on balls that could have been touchdowns. We didn't. We had one person make a mistake per play. When you got that kind of a rhythm going, you just don't get anywhere. And we flipped the field with punts a couple times. Paul Ortiz did a nice job kicking the ball for us, but a couple of those then broke out, and all of a sudden they got a big return. So it was like 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of a day. Defensively, I thought we held in there well for 3 quarters. Struggled late in the game with their run pass option, their RPO stuff. We just didn't get it covered very well. Missed tackles, those kind of things. So it just wasn't our best day. And there comes the disappointment piece, because going into those games, that's what we play for, that's what you plan for. But we have pretty resilient kids, so I expect that we'll bounce back on Thursday night.
How difficult is it to plan for a team that runs the option rather than just a regular offense?
Well, I don't think it's a whole lot different. I mean, we see it a lot,
yeah.
So it's not unusual for our guys. It's different than our offense, so we don't see each other that way. But we serviced each other all week and for 2 weeks, and I don't think that matters. If you do things right and make plays and tackle people, it's not that hard. But we start trying to do too much, you start taking a peek, and anytime against option football, if you try to gamble a little bit, you get a good quarterback like they have, he's going to hurt you, and that's what happened.
So you mentioned that you kind of felt out of step, out of sync most of the day. Did you feel that way coming in? When did you kind of notice that things, maybe were going sideways a little bit, and then how do you try to counter that?
Well, we had a great week of practice. I mean, and I'll go back to offensively. Thursday, we were lights out. I mean, it was great. Really was. I was like, oh, there's our offense. It was awesome. And defense was playing well too. And I thought really going into the game, walking on the field, I felt great. There wasn't anything like, oh, what's going on here? I thought we practiced well. We warmed up. I didn't feel anything except in our favor. And told the guys before the game, I thought that we had the advantage right there. And I really think it started that way. Once they got momentum, then we had to try to get it shut down. We just needed to make plays. We just couldn't make that big play to change the game. And then we got down by 2 scores. Now it changes everything you do. And the blitz whipped up on us a little bit more, and so it was a day of kind of not only disappointment but kind of disbelief that we really didn't play well, and we thought that we should have with no reason.
All right. Well, in talking to you before we sat down here for this interview, we were talking about the run game and Javian Roebuck being out, and Sioux Falls had Watson out in the second half, but how much did it hurt to have Javian Roebuck out, and is that maybe some of the reason why the run game really wasn't there this weekend?
No, I don't think so. Javian's a good player, but so is Sam Santiago-Lloyd and Landon Jacobson, and those 2 guys did fine. It was more about assignments. Young offensive line, and for the most cases, it was just one block slips off, the guy makes a play for a 3-yard gain. We averaged almost 4 yards per carry, but we just couldn't get any big hits. So we were playing behind the chains, and we just couldn't really. We just didn't throw it well. Owen didn't throw the ball well. It's unlike him. So when we had some guys open downfield, we had 2-3 touchdown opportunities. One was to Sam Santiago-Lloyd, wide open, just overthrew him by 2 feet. And so with all of that being said, no, it's each guy does their job, and we rushed the ball for a couple hundred.
17-6 was the halftime score in this one. Did you feel like you could make something happen in the second half and get back in the game?
Oh, absolutely. At halftime, we were talking in the locker room, and there was no panic. It's just like, let's go back out. We had the football first. Those kind of things. It was kind of like, okay, let's go to work. And so really there was never until the last, they had a 7.5 or 8 minute drive that went 95 yards. Yeah. That broke our back. That hurt us. They had 2 first downs in that drive that were by penalty. One was a little 5-yard speed out. We bat down a ball or something like that, and they're punting out of their end zone. the other side of it, it ends the second quarter, or the third quarter goes into the fourth quarter, and they're still on their drive, and it kind of now all of a sudden we're down 2 touchdowns, and it changes your whole complex of the game. So that was the drive that hurt us on the defensive side. Offensively, we just couldn't catch up because we weren't playing well enough.
All right. Now, last week when we were talking about the Wayne State game, I kind of brought up at the end of the interview, fourth quarter, I think he gave up 20 points last week. Again, the fourth quarter was kind of a big backbreaker, as you just said there. Are there any concerns about heading toward the fourth quarter?
No, I don't think so. 2 different kind of games, that's for sure. They controlled the clock in the last game, speaking of Sioux Falls. The Wayne State game, I really think the game was out of hand already. We played a lot of players in that game. They scored a couple late, but we were totally in control of that game. So 2 total different things, although it looks on paper that we struggled in the fourth quarter. We really didn't struggle in the fourth quarter against Wayne State. And overall, I think we just wanted to get some kids in the game.
All right, enough negative. Let's talk about some positive things with the offense. Owen Burke found Jake Blue for a nice pass to cap off an 84-yard drive that you had. Walk us through that drive. Well,
again, when you do things right, we had a nice pass-run combination in that. Owen threw a couple of nice strikes in there. We had guys fighting for third and 3 that was really tough, and we got that one. That was Landon made that run, and it was really great. And then the bubble, and then just let Jake do his thing. But the guys blocked it up right. He ran through 2 blocks and took it in the end zone. So we have that ability. We just didn't do it enough. But that particular drive was what we thought we'd see all game long. Started it that way at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
That one took place when you finish in the end zone, and that's something we really were after. And so that was really fun because that's what our offense is supposed to look like.
All right, tell us about the positive parts of the defense. Michael Gomez had 8 tackles. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of pressure on the quarterback during that game. Maybe don't want to dwell on that too much, but the positive parts of the defense.
Well, the positive parts is they rushed the ball. They got the number 1 running back in maybe Division II, and he was playing. And the next guy they bring is pretty good too. But it's really about quarterback play when you're playing in the RPO, and so. When we got to the fullback, we stopped the running game pretty well as the game went on. Then it was the quarterback hurting us, and then then all of a sudden he flips out a couple, and all of a sudden they got first down. So we just couldn't get off the field. So the positive thing is I think our guys in the front 7, what we were looking for, it was as physical a game as we've had in a couple of years. They did a really good job. It's one mistake there too. Secondary falls off a guy or leaves a guy wide open because you overreact to the quarterback run. We just weren't disciplined enough, and as the game got going, we got more and more anxious, and you get more and more like you got to make plays. And if we could just settle in and just play football, we wouldn't have had that explosion like they did in the second half. All
right, I did kind of mention the not getting any pressure on the quarterback. Was that just a one-week thing? Is that something that you need to try to fix as the season goes on?
Well, it's option football. So, he's running the football, and then he throws it late.
Right.
And so it's not really a drop-back pass thing. So we had a lot of pressure on that quarterback. We hit the quarterback a lot, but that's not what you'll see. You see in the sack, we didn't have any sacks or that kind of stuff, but that's not the kind of football they play. So the statistics don't really match what the picture was. Where he hurt us is some late runs and then pressure in the line of scrimmage and then flipping the ball out to a guy who's just standing there waiting for him as an option. And that's tough to defend. And it's assignment football. And like I said, if one guy doesn't do his job, it's going to be a play. Maybe we can rally to it for 6 or 7, but if it's 3rd and 3, they're moving the chains.
All right. Final question, I guess, in the segment. What was the message to the team at the end? You're right back at practice on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's frustrated, but we just didn't play well overall. But it's one game, and the other on the flip side of that is you only get 11. So I told them that I was disappointed that we missed an opportunity to play at a high level. Win or lose, if we play our best football and get beat, no problems. We didn't play our best football and got beat by a really good team, so that's probably going to happen. So. This week, we're focusing on getting 11 guys to do it right each play. And we've talked about this before in past years, that if we can get 35 to 40% of plays that have everybody do it right, we're going to probably score about 40 points, and we're only going to probably give up a dozen. So when you start thinking of it that way, just go do your job. And I think our kids are cued into that. And there was no fight or battle or anything like that. Nobody's feeling sorry for themselves. It's like, let's go back to work and enjoy playing a home game on Thursday.
All right, very good. We're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, Cole Liberty will join us right after this.
Business Internet just reached the tipping point. Tip your hat to the information age. Get a gig for business and upload robust files, complex videos, and compound reports. At the same time, in real time while saving time. For DISA and data, get a gig. Got it? Now get going. Get Luminet Gigabit for Business backed by 24/7 wizard support from HBC. Call us today.
See that glacier? Yeah. That's where we gotta go.
On Travel Channel.
Oh, incredible.
When the answers to the world's greatest mysteries.
Aztec gold. John Swift hit silver all over these mountains. The Alaska Triangle.
Require risking everything.
It's the end of the earth there, buddy.
The Kiefer brothers.
What we live for, man.
Will stop.
My heart is pounding right now.
At nothing.
Can you guarantee us that we'll get through the pass today?
No guarantees.
Wow.
All new Code of the Wild. Tuesday at 10 on Travel Channel.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. Cola Liberty is back. Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you were here 2 years ago, and I want to go back because we ran out of time at the end of your segment. You were talking about your recruiting trip, or not your recruiting trip, the time that Coach Sawyer came to visit you, and you went to a restaurant, and at the end you said, yeah, but you couldn't eat anything. So, but I didn't get a chance to follow up on that. How come you didn't have a chance to eat anything?
So it was the start of wrestling season my senior year, and I had to cut weight to make my weight class. And I was getting close to where I was about to make weight, and I couldn't take any chances, so I couldn't eat anything. I was just drinking water the whole time, and somebody else was there, and they were pigging out the whole time, and me and Coach Sawyer were sitting there drinking water, and it was unfortunate, but it worked out.
So good times.
Great
Absolutely,
right? Absolutely, yeah.
No doubt. No doubt.
Kids,
well,
yeah,
we laugh about that because the other two guys, Johnny Chamberlain, still on our team, was one of them, and they were underweight, and Cole and I were both overweight. So we had a lot of fun with that, and we said, we looked at each other and said, well, I guess the two of us just get water.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great day. 3 good kids. They all came to Winona State, and obviously 2 of them are still on our team. So those recruiting trips are a lot of fun.
All right, so tell us a little bit about that. That's got to be kind of difficult to go from football, where you want to have a lot of weight, to wrestling. What is it that you have to do in order to cut weight? How do you do that?
Well, there's a right way to do it, and then there's a way you probably shouldn't do it. During football, you really kind of gotta manage it so it's not too much out of control once the season's done. If you have to cut or drop 10, 15 pounds, as a big guy, that's nothing. So it's just a lot of cardio, a lot of low carb food, and after a couple of weeks, eventually you get down there and it's all right. So
okay. And then after that, then the other thing I wanted to talk about in your high school days, you were a baseball player as well. In fact, junior season, you hit over 489. You led your team in RBI with 17. Tell us about baseball. What was it like to play baseball?
I really enjoyed baseball. It was actually probably my favorite sport for a while, and I mean, eventually I just got burned out from playing. I played a lot of games. I played school ball, and then I played travel ball in the summertime. So I mean, I had a lot of fun. My team, I mean, we were pretty good, so it was a lot of fun to play. Eventually, I kind of got to focus on football, and I had a good time overall. It was a good career, and I enjoyed myself. So
okay, very good.
You look at, we got quite a few guys from the north, and I just want to go back to the high school days a little bit myself, but the guys that are now really a significant part of our football team, Peyton Dockel here, who's a redshirt freshman this year, Carter Berlin down the road from us, and I'm, of course, from Barron, just up the street from you, and you have relatives in Barron, so I knew you when you were a small child, but and now you got your brother playing too. But what's that like on a football team where you have a lot of guys from the same conference, and all of a sudden you're teammates?
It's kind of funny. Most of the guys on the team, we were all kind of rivals in high school, and we liked to give each other a lot of crap during the when we were in high school and stuff. But now we're all of a sudden teammates, and a lot of us are really, I mean, I shouldn't say a lot of us, all of us are actually really good friends now. Peyton's from Bloomer. Bloomer was our #1 rival in high school. I never beat him one time in football, and now we're friends. So it's just kind of funny how it works.
You look at going into the game. Let's just talk a little bit about, Justin asked me about what's going on in that particular game. Being back in the line again, being healthy along with Michael Gomez, how has that been for you now to have both of you guys healthy and playing together?
It's a lot of fun. The past 2 years, I had an injury the first year, and then last year we thought we'd be back, and this is the time to really gel. And then he got hurt, and now finally we came in together, and now we're actually playing together, and it's been a lot of fun. You know, he's my best friend, and yeah, I'm very lucky, very fortunate to have such a good player playing next to me. You know.
All right. So from the game this past week, do you use that as motivation this week against Upper Iowa, or do you clear the slate and new week?
A little bit of both. We had to definitely reflect and let it burn a little bit. You know, we had a lot of mistakes and things to clean up. But at the same time, you have to forget about that game, I guess, quickly, because we have a game coming up in 3 days.
Right.
You know, we got to make sure we're prepared mentally and our bodies are prepared, you know, properly to win this next game. So, you know, like I said, we have to move on, but make sure it still stings, obviously.
Sure.
So.
The last question I have for you, Cole, is, you know, playing in the trenches, and there was I was watching a thing on ESPN or some sports channel about the bottom of the pile. Why don't you tell us what life is when you're underneath maybe 900 pounds of offensive linemen?
It's not fun. A lot of the time, anything goes. If they can't see it, you can do whatever you want. And most of the time, if I'm on the bottom of the pile, I'm saying, "Get off of me!" Like, get off. That's a lot of weight. You know, everyone's on top of you. So, but I mean, if there's a fumble and the ball's on the ground, you're doing everything you possibly can to get it. So,
I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you for joining us here this week, and good luck this week against Upper Iowa.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we return, Peyton Dockel will join us right after this.
Our soccer is our sound. From the rooftops to the alleyways. Our stadium. Our stomping ground. Bigger. Louder. Like nothing else. Our soccer. MLS is on FS1.
The U.S. men's national team goes for glory at the 2019 Gold Cup. Rising stars.
What can this kid do?
Battle-tested veterans. United in victory.
The United States are the Gold Cup champions.
A new era in American soccer starts now. The 2019 CONCACAF Gold Cup. June 15th through July 7th on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. Peyton Dockel now here. Thank you for being here again.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you heard what Cole had to say about kind of being rivals in high school, and he didn't get to beat you once in high school. Let's hear about that. Let's hear about the games against Shitek.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's always a battle with those guys, especially my dad originally coaching there, head coach there. The Bloomer Shitek, it's always a battle. But yeah, I mean, every week you're hearing Johnny Chamberlain, Cole Liberty, you're hearing all those guys, and then now to be teammates with those guys, it's pretty cool.
How long did it take to kind of put away the high school rivalries and come together as a team here with the Warriors?
The first time when we came, I mean, it's just like family right away. It's like we weren't even rivals. I mean, we can joke around about all that stuff, but we're a family now. It's pretty cool.
Is it maybe easier to be teammates with someone that comes around from the same area, so you know the same things?
For sure. I mean, just the way we bond, like those conversation starters. We can talk about football. Oh, we played this guy. Oh, we played that guy. But it's all fun.
All right.
You know, you didn't talk a lot about Barron, which is, you know, disappointing to me. But the biggest thing is now you guys go against each other every single day in one-on-ones and or in some kind of scrimmage downs. And now you're making each other better. Before you wanted to beat each other, now you're making them better. How has that bond really made a difference for you when you know you got Cole going across from you?
For sure. I mean, I know I'm getting his best rep. He knows he's getting mine. That's the biggest part we go at it. But from before high school, I mean, we're going not knowing each other. And then this time, as a college athlete, I mean, it's way different. Me knowing so much more coming into this program. And now he's got all his knowledge from this program. We've learned a lot both. And it's fun to compete against each other.
Sure. You know, the other part is, you know, coming in now as a redshirt freshman, you're playing on Saturdays now. How has that transition been for you? Getting in the lineup, you played really well last week, and you know, we got you at fullback a little bit and that kind of stuff too. But how has that transition been now that you're in game mode?
It's honestly way different. I mean, last year you go from a red shirt, and on Saturdays you're on the sidelines, and this time when you're strapping up the pads every Saturday, it's just, you're in the green. I mean, it's as fun as it can be, and you work all that time, all the off season, all week preparation, you can finally get out there on Saturday. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I'm glad Coach brought up the fullback part because we saw that against Wayne State, and we loved that in the booth. We thought that was the best thing. Now, how did that come about? Is that something that you lobbied for? Is that something they said, okay, we're going to have you as the blocking back, and then I'll follow up after that?
One day, Coach Claw comes in. He's like, "Do you want to hear the good news?" I was like, "Well, I guess throw it at me." He's like, "We're going to have you at fullback in the diesel package." I'm like, "All right, let's go." And I was not sad about that one. So any way you can get on the field, I mean, I love it.
All right, the obvious follow-up is, are you lobbying to get the ball once? Are you going to get a carry this year?
You know, I've been wondering the same thing. I mean, I'm willing to get anything. If Coach Sawyer is looking to give me the ball, I mean, not going to be afraid to take it.
Well, I'll go right into the pie thing because, you know, as we talked about, you know, the Main Street Cafe in Bloomer, we talked about pies earlier. You know, I can be bought. I really can. But no, not really. But just in fun, I think that, one is he's a great athlete.
Yes.
And, you know, when you get athletes on the field, they can do multiple things. And Peyton's one of those kids. He's a very good high school basketball player and those things. And those are the kids we want to put into those positions. So if we decide when the time is right to do that, he'll do it, and we have no reservations. So yeah, we'll think about it.
For sure.
All right. Well, we'll be ready for it if that happens. Let's go back to being a multiple sport athlete because you're a track athlete as well. What did you do in track?
I threw shot and discus in track.
Okay.
And then once in a while, they'd have a big man relay, and I'd get into one of those. So that was always fun.
So you got a little speed then, too.
Oh, well, some would say not, but I like to think a little bit.
All right. The same question that I asked Cole. Do you use this last week's game as motivation for Upper Iowa, or is this something that you just kind of erased from your memory?
Kind of like Cole said. Obviously, it's going to sting a little bit. I mean, to go 1-1 that week, but obviously looking forward, we're just looking to go 1-0 this week. You know what I mean? Upper Iowa, another team. Any team in this conference can beat you. I mean, it's one of the best conferences in the nation, so we just got to go 1-0 this week and keep moving forward.
Okay.
You know, you look at a matchup like this. At home, Thursday night, at school day, having to practice on Sunday. And I know they have to go through the same thing, but they're traveling too. Is it disruptive, or you look forward to it, or how are you handling the short week?
I mean, I picture it as a good thing. After that loss, I think we can get back in the pads and get another game under our belt as soon as we can. I look for an opportunity to get better, and I think it's going to be a good thing. I'm excited for a Thursday night game.
Yeah, me too.
All right, thank you guys very much, and good luck this week.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk about the Upper Iowa game. That's right after this.
Wednesdays or anytime on demand or Fox Now.
7 hours of football start now. Holy Toledo! We are loaded with every touchdown down the sideline. What a catch! From every game, unbelievable! Every Sunday afternoon. Dives for the pylon, he made it. Move the sticks. Hello! With some patience and some burst. Touchdown! We were built for days like today.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. Well, as we mentioned, it's a quick turnaround this week because you have a Thursday game this week. Thursday night under the lights. Let's talk about that a little bit because a couple years ago, the conference decided to do a Thursday night matchup. What does that mean to you to have a midweek under the lights primetime game?
Well, I think it's a lot of fun. It's a good marketing tool. You know, we know our students are on campus, so we hope that we get a lot of kids there and people from the community. You know, playing at that time, we still have a couple hours. We can still do our game day experience and tailgate and all those kind of things. I think that with our video board, I think all those things are great especially for a nighttime game. So we're looking forward to all of that around the game. The turnaround is quick, but it's quick for both teams, and being at home is an advantage. I mean, I think you saw some of that advantage when we played last week because, Sioux Falls had a 10-day, practice time before us, and now we'll have a 10-day going into the next game over at Mankato. So it's an opportunity for us to get, like Peyton said, get back on the field and go back out, play a high-level football, enjoy the moment, and enjoy all of it around it, but we want to focus on what's inside those lines.
Let's kind of expand on that 10-day practice thing, because I know you like to give the guys a day off. Monday is usually the day off, but obviously with the short week, you can't really do that. So how do you structure a 10-day practice schedule? Do you kind of ease up on some days, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so our weekend schedule next weekend, we'll bring them in on Friday after the game to make sure they see the trainers. We do our flexibility stuff and lift and those kind of things. Then we'll be off on Saturday, like a normal Saturday we would play, come back, practice on Sunday, and then we take Monday off, so we're back in a normal week. So that weekend, we practice, have a day off, practice, then we go back into a normal week. So we really get 2 extra days of preparation, but you get 3 extra days of rest. So that's something that we really take advantage of, and you get you guys healed up for 2 more days. It's a big advantage.
All right. What have things looked like then for practice? Because as we said, right after your game on Saturday, you could practice on Sunday, practice on Monday. What did those practices look like leading up to Upper Iowa?
Yeah, Sunday's practice really was, we did practice, but it was light. But we spent about 45 minutes on Upper Iowa. So we had our meetings, went through the game, made some adjustments, those kind of things, had our special teams meetings, and then we went to work and went out. There was just no contact. We had the scout teams and offense and the scout teams along with the defense, worked on about 45 minutes of what Upper Iowa does. And then on Monday will be a regular practice like it's a Wednesday, and then we just fill in from there. So the rest of the week is exactly the same with a little bit less contact and a little bit less interaction, ones versus ones, and really focus on just the opponent. But really the number one thing is to get our guys so we have great legs underneath us and be healthy and come out Friday night or Thursday night ready to go.
What is it like for you and the coaching staff to have this turnaround where you have to dump whatever it was that you were practicing for Sioux Falls, and now you got to turn around and figure out Upper Iowa?
Yeah, we did some of that work preseason. We did some of the work last week. Once you get the package in, last week, and we're on the road, so we didn't have any recruiting. So we had Friday on the bus to work on some things. We had on the way home to work on some things. Even Thursday, we had a chance to get a lot of our scouting stuff done. Then just wait for them to play to get the last tape. So we did a lot of it up front, and so we feel prepared. I don't think it's like we're going to be concerned about not being prepared. We just want to make sure that we are as healthy as we possibly can going into the game.
All right, let's talk about that. Javian Roebuck obviously missed this past week with injury. Besides, do you expect him to play? And then what does the rest of the injury report look like?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to play him. He's he hyperextended his elbow a little bit, so we sat him for this week. Saw the doctor, everything's okay. It's just a matter of how fast we get that mobility back. So I'm not sure if he'll play this week or not. Probably not. But at the same time, everybody else came out of the game pretty clean. So right now we feel pretty good about who we have. And when you turn around and play that kind of tempo that they're going to play at, we have to have it's fun to play at home because we can use a lot more players.
Right. Now this is kind of a grudge match, I guess, for you from last year, but it's a different team this year. So what do you expect to see from Upper Iowa this year? Yeah,
really the grudge is against ourselves. We didn't play well, and we were banged up a little bit, and they flat out beat us. So in the last drive of the game. So we know that it's not really a grudge against them, it's more about against us. But what we're going to get from them is a quick passing game, 3-step passing game. We talked about sacks earlier. It's one of these things. It's tough to get to the quarterback because the ball's out in about 1 step, maybe 2. So we got to defend that well, make them get off their balance point, and stop the run game. It's not a big part of their offense, but it's enough where they keep you honest. And then at the same time, our special teams got to take over a football game. They do have a good punter, kicker, that kind of thing, but our return game and our kicking game needs to be on point because that can really flip the field for us and make them play a long field. When a lot of their passing game is 4 or 5 yards at a time, then they'll hit one for 15 and those things. So we got to be prepared. It's going to be a lot of plays on their offense. If we can get that shut down and make them punt it a few times, we'll be better off.
All right. We appreciate the time as always, and good luck against Upper Iowa.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for joining us here on the Tom Sawyer Show. We'll see you next week here on HBC TV 25.